Namaskar, hello, welcome to NCERT's live phone-in program. My name is Tanvi Khurana and we are beginning today's programs with a history class. And this history class is going to be all about nationalism in Europe. There are a lot of things we should know about Europe, about what happened there, the revolutions that happened in the past, and how did they fail? Did they had any positive result? What happened after that? What were the consequences? A lot of information is there out there which we need to know, which we should know, and that's what we are going to talk about in this class. This class is going to be for class 10th, but all the students can watch this program and you can take this information, you can have this knowledge. So let's meet our expert for today. We have in our studio Ms. Renu Gupta Adhikari. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Tanvi.
Morning, ma'am. Ma'am is a retired teacher from Ramjas School and she'll be answering all your questions. If you have any doubts, any queries, any questions related to this topic, then you can simply mail us on our email ID, which is ciet.kishoremanch@gmail.com. You can also call us with your queries on our toll-free numbers. We have two toll-free numbers. The numbers are 1800-112199 and the other one is 1800-111-265. So you are watching us live on your TVs right now. We are there live on SWAYAM Prabha's channel number 31, Kishore Manch. But if you have different connections, then we are there as well. If you have TataSky, then you have to tune in to channel number 726. On Airtel, the channel number is 440. On VmVideocon, the channel number is 477. On DD Free Dish channel number, the channel is 128. And on Sun Direct, this channel number is 793. Well, lastly, on Dish TV, we are there on channel number 950. If you want to watch all the sessions which we have done before, then you can also download our app, Kishore Manch. And you can also download the Jio TV app because we're there as well. You're watching us live right now on your YouTube channels. The channel is NCERT Official. We are there and you can write your questions in the conversation box. We will take your questions up for next 45 minutes and ma'am will be answering all your questions. So now that I've informed you about all the methods through which you can connect with us, I think we're all prepared to begin with this session. I want to ask ma'am, because you did a session on Saturday as well, but there were some problems, so you couldn't finish the whole thing. But can you please sum up the entire thing in just a few words for the understanding of our viewers, and then we'll begin with this session.
I'll thank you, Tanvi. I'll take it with the help of slides, because children will be able to associate more with the visuals, So yes, I'll begin with the slides. So on that day, what I had done was I had summed up. I had started with these learning outcomes. And there, I had talked about that the children should be doing this lesson with the help of maps. Because in this chapter, what is happening is that the borders keep on changing, right from 1789 to 1815 and then to 1830 and then to 1848. So unless and until, these people, they are doing it with the map, it will become a tough battle for them, So my advice is they should do it, with the help of map, So that's why, I have lots of maps also in this presentation. And then, they should be able to identify with the implications of conservative thought process in Europe. Another thing which I want the children to be able to understand is that they should be able to comprehend the concept of liberal nationalism, which is very, very important. And they have started this French Revolution in 9th class, so they should be able to analyze the impact of French Revolution across Europe. That's so lots of students, they keep on asking, what is nationalism? Ma'am, we don't understand nationalism. So on that day, what I had told them was that nationalism is that feeling amongst the people, where these people, they start feeling, associating themselves with their own territory, with their language, with the government, and they want their own identities also. And then I remember I had told them also that you can find out what are the identities which we have as Indians. There, I had told you, if you remember, I had told you that when you go to the cinema hall and the national anthem is being played, so what all we do? We all get up and we sing it. So that is
Yeah.
our spirit of nationalism. So they can, and because everyone is sitting together, the whole family is sitting together nowadays because of the lockdown. So what they can do is the parents and the children, they can draw and paint symbols which characterize our Indian identity. So they will come to know, they will understand the concept of nationalism, that way. Then I had gone through the timeline because history cannot be done without dates. And students generally feel, ma'am, we have to do so many dates. So dates are important. So that's why I have put them in a systematic manner. So you find, there is 1789. They have done it in ninth class. They know the date. French Revolution, and it was here that fort of Bastille was attacked, and then there was constitutional monarchy, republic was established, and then finally came Napoleon Bonaparte. He came in 1800 and he began invading Europe. He, in the process, introduced the concept of equality, liberty, and fraternity in Europe through Napoleonic civil code in 1804. But the rulers who were defeated, they did not like him, and so that the great powers, they got together, and in 1815 they defeated him in the Battle of Waterloo. Then again, Congress of Vienna was held, where these great representatives of various countries, they got together, and they again they were able to again reframe the boundaries of Europe, bringing them back to the conservative period. These people did not like it because they had already tasted freedom. So what they did was they revolted, and there were revolutions in France, Belgium, Greece in 1830, followed by the revolutions in 1848 in France, Germany, Austria, Italy. Then I had shown this map, and this map really excited the students. I remember you people were excited. And I told you that in 1789, there was a Russian Empire. These are empires. And remember one thing, students, empires are always associated with rulers. Empires are not like our nations. Nations are associated with people. And you can see here on that day I had shown the Russian Empire, the Ottoman Empire I had shown. See, this kingdom of Hungary is there, kingdom of Poland is there. And then, you find kingdom of Spain and kingdom of France are there. And very interesting, this Habsburg Empire, and I'll talk more about the Habsburg Empire. What has happened to this one? Yeah. You can see this, in this huge Habsburg Empire, there was Bohemia, West Galicia. You have to learn up all this. So that's why I'm re-emphasizing these names, East Galicia, Slovakia, Hungary, Transylvania, Austria, and parts of Italy also. So try to imagine, so many people living together in different territories, and these rulers were able to put their hand over all these areas, And in these areas, it's very interesting, different people. And you can make out from their headgears also. See, this headgear is different. These were Slovenes. This headgear is different. These are Cocklots. Then these were Bohemians. These were Moravians. And these were Romanians. So many people with diverse culture, diversity, they were all living together. And, they had their own aspirations. There's no doubt. But, they were very loyal to the king. And king was very smart. What these monarchs had done, they had come out with divine right theory. That as you respect God, you have to respect me also. As God is your protector, I am your protector. So as a result, people develop outright loyalty towards them, you know. And here again, I had given an activity which was that now you've seen the Habsburg Empire. Now you name the countries that were formed from the Habsburg Empire. You know. So you will have to sit with your parents with a map and find out, you know, okay, this is Habsburg Empire and which are the modern countries now. So this was the activity, you know, which I had given. And then,
Okay.
yeah, and then, you know, I had talked about the French Revolution, you know. So French Revolution, what had happened was that French Revolution came in 1789 and loads of changes came in France. You find, you know, Estate General, it was now henceforth called as National Assembly. And the most important thing was Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen. This is every, you know, every constitution in the present countries also they have this, you know, Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen. And in this, you know, states were supposed to protect the inalienable rights of the people. So this is what happened, you know, and people were very happy, you know. They started associating themselves with symbols. They started talking about La Citoyen. And what was La Citoyen? Fatherland. We call our country as motherland. They call their country as La Citoyen, you know. And they were no more loyal to the rulers. Now, you know, their loyalty was towards their own identity. And for that reason, they developed these symbols also, you know. We have symbols. I hope the students have done that homework, which I had given them, you know, as an activity. So they developed these symbols. So the flag was there with red, white, and blue color. Students were very curious about this cockade, you know. This was a circular symbol, you know, of the colors of the flag only. Now you see, you know, they were asking me later on also that how they were using this cockade, you know. So cockade, you know, they were either pinning it up in their coats or they were putting it, you know, in their on their hats. Then, you know, they developed this Mariana. And this Mariana was their symbol of security, you know. As we have Bharat Mata, we have Bharat Mata in India. And Bharat Mata is supposed to be symbolic of what? It is, she's supposed to give us clothing. She's supposed to give us knowledge. She's supposed to give us spiritualism, you know. And this they are going to study in the next chapter also, Nationalism in India. And then this very interesting Gallic rooster. This Gallic rooster is, you know, symbol of France again. And this stands for vigilance. So these were the symbols which the French people developed, you know. And another thing which happened with the French Revolution was that art of warfare. That yes, we have to carry our ideas of equality, liberty, and fraternity through warfare to other parts of Europe. And Napoleon Bonaparte was ready for that. And so that is where, you know, I had concluded my lecture on Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, ma'am, you explained a lot and you even gave some interesting activity to the students. I'm sure they would have done that.
Yeah.
So let's begin with today's session. And ma'am, I wanted to ask, so in 1815, what exactly happened after the Battle of Waterloo?
No. First, we have to talk about 1789, you know. I know the dates go wrong, you know. Everyone goes wrong, so it's okay, you know. We are still talking about 1789. And you find, you know, like 1789 French Revolution happened. And then Napoleon Bonaparte decided in 1800 that he would like to go to Europe and spread the ideas of equality, liberty, and fraternity out there. But mind you, these ideas were there. He wanted to spread, but he wanted to extend his empire also. He wanted, you know, a huge French empire to be created. So you find, you know, such a huge empire was created. And this there, you know, he went till Egypt, mind you, at that time when transportation and communication system was not so developed. Mind you, it's easier nowadays, but at that time it was not easy, you know. So he was a brave soldier, a good general, you know. So he was able to take Austria, you find Germany, Poland, he was able to take Spain. And can you see this, Italy? And
Yes.
this is a secret which I learned, and I want to share with you, Tanvi. If you see it closely, you see it is a lady's boot. If you see this closely, can you see that? Can you identify?
Yeah.
Yeah. So whenever you open the map of Europe, if you want to see Italy, you always look for this lady's boot. So you will be able to find out that yes, this is Italy. Okay. So coming back to what I was saying, Napoleon Bonaparte was able to create such a huge empire. And it was such a huge empire that it has been, compared with the empire of Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great, who conquered India also. He had come to parts of India also. So,
Yeah.
when people had already in Europe learned about French Revolution, they already knew that people have developed these symbols. So here in Europe also, people began to live their lives and they started thinking that their lives would be replica. It would be replica of what lifestyle was there of French. And it happened to Napoleon Bonaparte gave them a sense of identity. And this came in the form of Civil Code of 1804. Not only he gave them the taste of freedom, but he gave them efficient administrative system, abolition of internal custom duties. People began dreaming of equality, liberty, fraternity. And, this slide would make it clearer to you. Now, this slide, you will find that this doesn't look to be a history slide. Yeah, it doesn't look, because here is a thumbs up and here is a thumbs down also. So first, let us concentrate on thumbs up. So when I was telling you about Napoleon's civil code, so what he introduced there was all male citizens would be equal, which people had never tasted there in Europe. Administrative divisions would be simplified. There would be abolition of serfdom, that is slavery, and there would be encouragement to guild system. Now, you need to understand what were these guilds. Tanvi, what used to happen was that group of traders, group of producers, group of artisans, they used to form their groups, okay. And there they used to decide, that this is the quality of the product which we are going to introduce in the market,
Right.
and this is the way, we are controlling the prices. So this was the way, people were very happy with Napoleon Bonaparte. And that's why I said it also. They started dreaming about equality, liberty, and fraternity. But yes, now I come to the thumbs down thing, And, what happened was, now, you have to see it in a wider perspective. Napoleon Bonaparte had established such a huge empire. So what he would require, Tanvi, can you answer this question?
Yes, ma'am.
When he was extending such an empire, what does a ruler require? Can you think of any guesses? I'm okay with the guesses. How would he conquer such a huge empire? He would conquer such a huge empire with army. He would require definitely, yeah, he would require an army. Now, when he required army, he definitely required money for that. And for that reason, now from where he would get that money? He would get that money from taxes. So Napoleon, I'm not trying to defend Napoleon Bonaparte, but what I'm trying to tell you is that why he had to increase taxes, And, here you should be able to associate it with the present context also. We people also pay taxes. We pay income tax. We pay property tax. Okay, the producers are paying excise duty. Then the businessmen are paying custom duties. So children do ask, where does this money go? My father yesterday was grumbling about income tax and property tax. So we need to tell them that this money goes to the government. So what does the government do with this money? The government creates infrastructures so that the country, we as people, can prosper more. So that was the reason, Napoleon Bonaparte, and I'm again saying it, that I'm not defending Napoleon Bonaparte for increasing taxes, but That was the reason, you know. And then he also, and this was, of course, we also sometimes don't like when we have to pay more taxes, you know.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
and you know, another thing was that he introduced forced conscription. Now, what was this? People compulsorily had to enroll in the army. Okay,
Okay.
right. So people did not like it. They were not used to it, you know, so they did not like this also. And then, you know, there was censorship. Censorship means media was controlled, people could not, you know, express their thoughts, you know. So this was what was happening. And that's why, you know, you find, you know, people sometimes felt, you know, that this was not right. What we were dreaming of, this did not come. They were disappointed, you know, somewhere, you know. And the monarchs who had been defeated, they were looking for an opportunity, you know. So you find the rulers, you were asking about this, you know, 1815.
Yes,
So,
but
yeah,
now that you have showed that thumbs up and thumbs down slide,
yeah.
I just wanted to say that the citizens of any country, be it Europe or be it India, never like these three things. The ones you
I-
mentioned.
no, but we need to be good citizens. No, we need to pay these taxes so that the government is
Yes.
able to use them properly and create, you know, infrastructure. We don't like it, but we do pay, you know, these
We
taxes.
do, we do.
Yeah, yeah. And that is the duty of a good citizen also, and we are all good citizens. Okay,
Absolutely.
yeah. So coming back to, you know, what I was telling you, so these monarchs who had lost their empires, they all got together. So you find, you know, you find England, you can see this Great Britain here. Okay,
Yeah.
you find, you know, Prussia, you
Hmm.
know, Prussia here, and you can see Russia here. Okay, and you find, you know, Austria, you can see the Austrian Empire. All
Yeah.
these great powers, they got together and they marched against Napoleon Bonaparte, and they defeated Napoleon Bonaparte in the Battle of 1815. Right. So Napoleon Bonaparte's empire came to an end. Right. But now they had to think about what they had to do about the territories which he had conquered, because he had given new boundaries to the whole of Europe. So as a
Right.
result, what happened was, in Vienna, and this is the capital of Austria, you know, in Vienna, they got together. All the great powers, all the power country empires, you know, which had been against Napoleon, they all got together. And, you know, there is always a leader, you know, always in a gathering, there is a leader, you know. And here also in Congress of Vienna, a leader emerged whose name was Metternich. And Metternich belonged to Austria. And you know, Metternich was a reactionary person. He did not like the concept of democracy and nationalism. He was not the one, you know, who would accept that. You know. So you find, you know, what happened in Congress of Vienna was that Congress of Vienna turned to be very undemocratic. It was completely opposite to what Napoleon Bonaparte had introduced. You know, right? So what happened was, and you know, what Metternich proposed was, he proposed the principle of compensation. Whoever, whichever ruler had lost his empire, he would be compensated. And he also introduced the concept of legitimacy. Whoever was legally the ruler before Napoleon Bonaparte came, he would be ruling over Europe, you know, again. So you find, you know, Congress of Vienna, Tanvi, was basically reactionary and was bringing back what was there before Napoleon had invaded Europe, you know. And, you know, I'll show you
So the
something.
citizens of Vienna were happy with the whole change?
First of all, Tanvi, we will not call them still citizens, because still they are empires. So they are people, you know. People, you know, who still have that loyalty towards these rulers only. You know. I'll tell you that also. That's a very good question. Just give me 1 minute. Let me just wind up with this Congress of Vienna. Can you see this, France?
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
In purple.
Now, yeah. So what happened was, now these powers, you know, great powers, did not want, you know, France to expand, you know, anymore. So what they did was, they created those guards, you know. Let me see if anyone else, you know, comes out. So they created this Netherlands. And in this Netherlands, you know, they included Belgium also. So Belgium was incorporated in Netherlands. Okay. And can you see Genoa here?
Yes, ma'am.
Which is a part of Italy. Genoa was
Yeah.
given to Piedmont. So the great powers, and the great powers were also rewarded. I had shown you the map of 1789. Now you see, Russia was given Kingdom of Poland. The Prussian Empire also got extended. The Austrian Empire also got extended, and it got parts of Italy also. Now just imagine, now Austria, and now imagine Italy. And at that time, what was happening, and Great
Right.
Britain also, Great Britain, because it was also one of the great powers, it also gained, various territories, even in Asia. So as you were asking me, Tanvi, yes, people were not happy because when all these boundaries they were drawn, people were not given any consideration. Their language, their culture, their tradition, they were not given any consideration. And democracy and self-government were rejected by the European leaders. And you find, but this was the conservative order, which was established. You understand the meaning of twist? I'm not asking for
Yes,
a
ma'am.
dance, but it is a twist. So Congress of Vienna was guided by the principle of conservatism, but there was a twist to this conservatism, which will become clear to you from this slide. Now, as I told you, in conservatism, according to Congress of Vienna, old hierarchical order was established. There was revival of monarchical system, that is, rulers were again there, and there was opposition to democracy and nationalism. But what was the twist? Now these rulers, they wanted what they wanted. They wanted to be very, very powerful. So they took certain inspirations and they took certain ideas from French Revolution. So what they did was they abolished feudalism. They completely did away with the feudal lords, who had been assisting them. And what they did was they also formed a new army which was very efficient, and it was no more dependent on the feudal lords. Initially, feudal lords were supplying the army. So whatever army was there, whoever was available, they used to give that, But now, there was efficient army, which was stationed by these rulers, And there was efficient bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is a word, which I would like to explain. What is bureaucracy, And bureaucracy are the state officials, Like in India also, and in all the countries, they have their bureaucracy. In India, what do we have? We have IS officers. These IS officers help the government in making the projects. So similarly, now the rurals also, they created an efficient bureaucracy. And of course, a progressive economy, because unless and until the economy progresses, the country, the empires and the ruler cannot be progressive, And, this will be clearer to you from this slide. Now see what is there. What have I shown here, I have shown the crown. Now, what is this crown? The crown shows the power of the ruler. And this ruler would be ruling with the help of bureaucrats, that is officers, right? And
Right.
would be maintaining an army, because army the rulers require for expansion, for keeping revolts under control of the people, and also consolidation of their territories. And then a dynamic economy also was required. So this was the new conservatism which came in here. But the sad part is, people, as you said it also, you asked me also, people did not like this. And
Right.
they were still remembering the French Revolution, that we were getting so much of freedom. Okay, we were paying taxes, but we were getting freedom too. So they were thinking again and again what they should do and what should happen. And Tanvi, this
Yes, ma'am.
led to the rise of something, and that was liberal nationalism. So
Okay.
liberal nationalism, came in after this new conservatism was introduced in Europe, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So, ma'am, this was one of the reasons. Were there any other reasons for the rise of liberal nationalism?
Yeah, and I would, yeah, very good question, Tanvi. And that is something, which the students should be able to understand. And do you know, Tanvi, one thing? And this is very interesting, that these monarchs in Congress of Vienna, right, they
Mm.
created new conservatism. And
Right.
that new conservatism with French Revolution led to the
Mm.
rise of liberal nationalism.
Right.
Now, liberal. So first of all, let me tell you what was liberal nationalism. It was an
Mm.
ideology.
Okay.
Certain thoughts were there, and a movement
Mm.
of the 19th century. Now, what I was telling you, see, these the rulers had created centralized states, right?
Mm.
That their
Right.
empires were under their control, right?
Mm.
And they had, I told you beforehand, they destroyed feudalism. The feudal
Mm.
lords are not there. Now the
Yes.
people are not going to be loyal to these feudal lords. They would be loyal to their culture. They would be loyal to their territory. Okay, so that is, what happened, so people started developing loyalty towards their culture and no more traditions, language, and no more to the ruler and these feudal lords. The second reason of the rise of liberal nationalism was secularization of education. Now, here I would like you to understand the concept of secularism. What is in
Okay.
our constitution, we hear that we people are secular. So, what happens is in our country, the government, the state is supposed to respect all the religions. But
Right.
right? But in case there is a social conflict, the state is empowered also to do what? It is empowered to interfere also. If you remember, like when our constitution was introduced, in our constitution, you find, there was abolition of untouchability. Because you
Right.
find, there had been this conflict, as a result, this was what was that. Okay, so
Mm.
secularization, so you have understood the concept of secularism.
Yes, ma'am.
In Europe, secularism meant, weakening of the church. Like church will not be able to dictate, the policies which were being introduced by the rulers. So as a result, what happened was now, the poets and the scholars, they began to emphasize cultural nationalism. And this cultural nationalism, what was it? The mother tongue. The mother tongue became the most important thing. These poets and these scholars said that the child should be educated in his mother tongue. So they worked very hard, they refined the mother tongue, and they elevated it to the rank of literary language. As a result, what happened was that with this, another principle was put forward, that people could be educated only in their mother tongue and not in any other language, which was there, which the ruler had decided. Okay. And here, again, I can think of an activity. I'll come to this point just later on. In our country also, like I'm a history person, so I will be giving, assignments from history only. So how many states were created in India on the linguistic basis after independence? you know you will children will think, what is it? Yes, in India certain states were created on the basis of language, and later on certain states were created on the basis of their tradition, their culture, etc. So students, do sit down with your parents. Your parents would be having an idea, and sit down with the map of India in 1950 and try to find out how many states were created on the linguistic basis, at that time.
Ma'am, this is very interesting. Along with the students, viewers, I'm gonna do this activity as well.
Oh,
I
lovely.
want to know too.
Yeah. That is lovely, if you are able to do. So, coming back to growth of commerce, which also led to the rise of liberal nationalism. Now, what was this growth of commerce and what was happening in this growth of commerce? In England, you find there had been industrial revolution. And as a result of industrial revolution, goods were being produced where? Goods were being produced in the factories with the help of machines, you know. So a class emerged at this time, which was the bourgeois class. Bourgeois class meant the capitalist class. And what was this capitalist class? This capitalist class was, you know, responsible for the rise of capitalism. What was capitalism? I know these are heavy words, you know. First it is liberal nationalism, now it is capitalism. So I will tell you what was capitalism. Capitalism meant means of production. Now, what are means of production? Land, labor, capital. So these were to be owned by few people. And that few people became the class which Karl Marx also has called as bourgeois class. It's a difficult word, but try to learn it up. And if you write it also in your papers, the teachers will get impressed that children know the bourgeois class. Now, this bourgeois class wanted what? Because it is investing so much money in investing money in the industries. So it wanted profits. And for profits, you know, it did not want interference from the rulers. Okay. The rulers who considered, you know, this to be their empire, they were the ones who have to take all the decisions, right? So they didn't want any interference from the empire. So they were also wanting a breather. They also wanted freedom. They also wanted, you know, certain economic liberalism to be introduced, you know, at this time. So this was, you know, what you find, you know, national liberals were, you know, and their goals were individual and economic freedom, as well as national sovereignty. Do you have an idea about what is sovereignty? We say that we, the people of India, solemnly resolve to constitute India into a sovereign republic. So sovereign means supreme power. So national liberal goals were individual and economic freedom, as well as national sovereignty. They wanted to create a country for themselves, a nation, like we have a nation. USA is there, China is there. So they also wanted to create a nation, you know, which was to be sovereign, you know. It was generally recognized that each nationality should form a state, and that state should include all members of the nationality. So this was liberal nationalism, Tanvi. So what I have told you is that in liberal nationalism, the middle class, the bourgeois class, because of the industrial revolution, was demanding certain concessions. And you find this, you know, you should know right now that when the industries are established, who would be working in the industries? Who would be running their machines? Those would be workers. So workers would be working there. And, you know, it's a very interesting relationship. The bourgeois is there in the industries which wants to make profits. And the workers are there who are working for them. How the bourgeois class would make profits? By reducing their wages. Right? And the workers would not like that. The workers would not like that. So, you know, these workers also, they also started aspiring, you know, for certain concession, from certain relief, you know, because of the way, you know, they were being exploited by the bourgeois class. All this liberalism. You know, you want to ask something, Tanvi?
Ma'am, can you explain liberal nationalism again? Like, there's a question by one of our viewers, Bhanu Pratap Singh. He wants to know the term again. So just explain it, describe it a little bit.
Okay. Now, okay, I'll not go now by the...
Yeah, just don't go into the details. No, because you're already explaining it.
Yeah. So liberal nationalism will be where, you know, people are associating themselves with their own territory. They have their own identity. The people are important. They have developed symbols. And, you know, they want certain concessions, political concessions also, for example, right to vote they want, so that they can elect their own government. Okay. And the bourgeois class, the middle class, it wants certain concessions in the form it does not want the state to interfere. And the state, and it came out with a very interesting concept also, laissez-faire. This was the ideology used by the capitalist class, the bourgeois class. And laissez-faire meant let us alone, leave us alone. That leave us alone meant out here, that the state should not interfere. So non-interference by the state, identity of the people, okay, with their own culture, with their own traditions, is considered as liberal nationalism. I hope I have been able to satisfy, the student, whoever has asked this, made this query. Can I proceed now, Tanvi?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay.
So history is huge, and I don't think we can cover it in one lesson or even two lessons. So we have just 4 minutes left. So ma'am, please, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. I got, okay, I think I should be able to cover it. And this activity, of course, we will be doing. So coming back to, so revolutions, started as a result of liberal nationalism. Revolution started. The first revolution started in Paris, where Charles, who was the ruler, he had, censored the intellectuals, Okay, he had censored the intellectuals because intellectuals are the media. You are also from media, So, the media is the one which gives new ideas. And these rulers, they were scared of that. So there was a, there was a revolution in Paris. Charles had to lose his throne. And, the revolutionaries brought Louis Philippe to the throne. Okay. And Louis Philippe was smart enough, whatever the people were wanting, Louis Philippe did that. First of all, Louis Philippe, he, gave, right to vote to the male citizens. That is what he did. And he also, liberalized, his hold over the media also. So that was another thing, which he did. And, what happened as a result was, and, yes, he cut back the influence of the church. Now, Greece was also able to establish its independence from Ottoman Empire. Now, you would be wondering, what is this Ottoman Empire? Now, just a homework, and I won't miss this. List down all the countries in modern Europe that were part of the Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire was a huge empire, and they will be studying about the Ottoman Empire in the lesson, nationalism in India. So, okay. Do you remember I had shown you how France was blocked by Netherlands in the map?
Yes, ma'am.
I had shown, yeah. Thank God.
And Belgium was included in Netherlands.
Very good. Excellent, Tanvi. So that Belgium gained its independence because of the revolution of 1830. So people were, successful, in this. So after doing all these, then what happened, because you have told me that there is less time, so I would hurriedly do it.
Ma'am, we are almost finished with the time.
Almost finished. Can I do this?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Just give me 2 minutes. 2 minutes you can give me?
No, ma'am, not 2 minutes. A single minute. Yes.
A single minute. Okay, there was an outbreak of famine, and as a result, there was rise in prices. The people were not getting wages. So as a result, they were not able to ask for goods. So as a result, there was unemployment, and because people were unemployed, so what happened was, what's happened to my slide? Is the slide there or not?
Yes, ma'am, I can see it.
Yeah. So as a result, people were unemployed, and thus there was revolts. And as a result of these revolts, you find, what happened was that there were revolts in Austria, revolution of 1848, and there were revolts in Germany, there were revolts in Italy, and there were revolts in France. And just to conclude it, I'll say that these revolutions of 1848 were not successful. The people were not successful what they were thinking for. So I think...
All right. Yeah. You have covered it Almost. You have.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
ma'am,
Thank you.
for giving us this interesting history portion. Because generally people say history is boring, but actually it isn't. Now that
Thank
I have
you.
learned a little bit about this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for
Thank you.
joining us. Thank you, all the participants who were asking the questions. Sorry, we couldn't take all the questions because there was a lot ma'am was explaining, but maybe next time we'll take all the questions. And
Sure.
please keep on watching NCERT's online resource material, because in a few minutes from now, we'll come back again with an English session for class 9th students. So stay with us, stay protected, stay at your home, and don't go anywhere. Namaste.